Hey, did we change our internet password?
Okay, sorry that we were a little late there, Brian. To be completely candid, just lost track of time, looked down at my watch and it was 5 till. So, but we're here. It's 3 minutes after. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'd like to welcome everybody to City Council meeting today, April 28th, 2026. We are actually going to start with our work session. Number one, considering a petition from Northern Slope LLC, Summit Creek, for the annexation of 5.36 acre portion of land associated with parcel 30:077:0226 and the acceptance of a change in zoning for said parcel of land. And that zoning is actually just a request to send it to the Planning Commission. But Bucky, do you have anything you want to present to the council?
So there should be a map. There should be a map on your desk that looks like this. So the portion we're talking about is this pink portion. We've been working on this. We got our master plan reapproved with the city, I think in 2023. And we contemplated trying to get this annexed from Elk Ridge into Woodland Hills so we could develop it with our last phase. We've been working on this with Elk Ridge for a little over 2 years now, and I think we've gone through their whole process. I think they're agreeable to this now. That's my understanding, and now they're waiting for Woodland Hills to approve it and accept it if they're willing, so that we can develop it. It would turn into basically 3 lots, as you can see on the map. And it's a lot easier for us to develop that as part of Woodland Hills than Elk Ridge. It's I don't know. I guess it's technically not impossible, but it's difficult for Elk Ridge to service those properties. So that's kind of high level. I don't know if anything I'm missing, or if you have any questions or anything.
What were some of the concerns from, you mentioned a couple of years to work with Elk Ridge. What were some of their concerns about the annexation?
Loafer Canyon Road has had some flooding, not from this, but I think there's various areas that have contributed to Loafer Canyon getting flooded when there's, heavy storms or runoff. And so what they tied to this was a lower portion of our property. They wanted us to increase the retention pond. And so we significantly made some improvements to the current retention pond that we have down there. And it took a couple of years to kind of come to that agreement and conclusion, and for us to do the work and for them to accept it. And
So the work's complete?
Yeah.
So did you do that work in good faith that once complete, that they would be compliant to let you do it and then?
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, whether it gets approved or not, I mean, we don't want to be contributing to flooding the road. So,
Okay.
So we felt like it was just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's just those 3 parcels? Or 4?
It's just a portion.
It's a portion of one parcel, but we will request, if the city will accept this, our final plat will seek approval to turn that into 3 lots in that portion.
That's what I meant, the
Yeah.
future. That's what your anticipation is. By annexing this in, it will be those 3
Yeah.
additional lots.
Mhm. Yeah, correct. One thing I failed to mention, this property, this 5 acres, is right on the crest.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a steep hillside.
Yeah.
We first sought to let Elk Ridge move the entire parcel into Woodland Hills, but they only wanted to do the portion that we could develop. So.
I see. So even though you own the rest of it at this point, that's on the lower part and you don't have plans for development yet.
We haven't, I mean, we don't have any plans to develop that portion, so. Yeah.
What would be the change in the lot sizes of those 3? Because right now you've got 1.5 sitting on there. Oh, am I reading that right? Or are those lots currently as you would like to have them?
Yeah, they're showing.
They're showing what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all a little over an acre. The zoning's R119, which matches
Yeah.
the rest of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't your original plan and then that you've annexed that you want to now take that annexed portion and make additional ones in there. So-
Seems like from some of the other ones we've done that were on the border that it's, you know, Woodland Hills, it's Woodland Hills roads to get to those properties and for fire and snow and everything. So that's why they need to be annexed in so that we can service them, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how would Elk Ridge get to them?
Yeah.
What are some of the engineering? I mean, it's very steep, right? What were some of the engineering complexities that you guys considered that would, you know, obviously, anytime you're building on an edge of anything, just ask some folks up in Draper how that goes, right? So what are some of the steps you've taken from an engineering perspective?
Yeah, so the build pads that will be on our final plat, in our final plat, it will all be on natural soil.
Okay.
Where those lots you're talking about in Draper, they were trying to build, their build pad was across fill. And that was a bad idea from the city and the developer. And the only place we're showing a house to be built is all in natural. So that's on the very top flat part of the ridge where it's buildable. So
Okay.
yeah, we have the same concern. We don't want to sell a property that is where a house is gonna be built off a cliff. So some of these lots, their backyard will be on that steep edge,
Sure.
but no build pad onto that steep edge.
Okay.
And in our conversations with Elk Ridge, they're okay with this annexation.
Okay.
Brian, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Steve?
No, I don't think so.
Janet, Carrie?
No, just, because it's just an annexation, we're not looking at the site plan specifically or the roads or
It's
anything like
just a
that,
matter of
so.
whether we want it to come into Woodland Hills.
Don't see anything, I mean, unless there's any concerns from the fire chief of having, because that is a slope with some scrub oak, if that's an issue for the fire chief or not.
I think
But I
it
don't
is an
think so.
issue, whether it's in our city or not. The
Right,
trees still exist. Ted?
Got a question. Yeah, so we have, implementation requirements. I think as long as that's compliant. Our word requirements, just complying with our word requirements and most others.
Perfect, Ted. If there's no other questions, I'm actually going to move and see if we can't, I don't see anybody from Three Bridges here right now. So Jody, am I okay to skip to number 3?
Yeah, I don't know if we will see anyone from Three Bridges here, Wayne. Are you aware? They didn't show up to the planning commission meeting either.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'm gonna skip then to number 3, since Zions is here with us, Mark Anderson. And so we are looking at a consideration for adoption of a resolution authorizing the insurance and sale of not more than $1.4 million aggregate principal amount for a dedication of our sales and franchise tax revenue bonds. And so, Mark, you want to come join us here and kind of walk the council through what that bond would look like?
You bet.
And just so everybody knows, this is for phase 4 of the pavement management plan. So we have been discussing this bond, actually all of the 2026 fiscal year budget, which is the one we're currently in. And we actually built it into that budget. And then last council meeting, when we amended the budget, we actually pulled these funds out. But that is what we're talking about. Mark.
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with the council. It's been probably 5 years since I've been here. What you have before you tonight is what we call a parameters resolution with some associated exhibits. The parameters resolution is the beginning process of issuing bonds under state law. And within the parameters resolution, it defines the project as being the maintenance of roads. It sets parameters as far as the borrowing. The maximum borrowing amount for the bond would be $1.4 million. The maximum term that the bonds would be repaid over is 10 years. The maximum interest rate is 6%. But in reality, we expect a rate probably in the high 3s or low 4% rate. It's a small bond, so there may not be as many interested purchasers, but I'm optimistic that we can find a purchaser for that. It also designates the mayor pro tem, and the city recorder as designated officers that have the ability to make the decision on the final purchaser in terms of the bond. What the process is after the council adopts the parameters resolution, and this resolution, it also includes the scheduling of a public hearing, which would be on May 26th. And then we would anticipate putting together a bid package that we would, a request for bids that we would send out to banks that would purchase this bond for their private investment portfolios. And would expect bids back approximately on the 1st of July, and then close the bonds on July 15th is when the funds would be delivered to the city. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Any questions for Mark?
The interest rates, obviously those are going to be negotiated and what are some of the things that we should, I mean, you mentioned 6, maybe a little bit less than that. What's out there right now? I know things can change.
Well, I would expect something around 4%, give or take 20 basis points or 0.2% of interest, based on what the current market is. The market's been pretty volatile since the beginning of the Iran war. We saw rates jump up, probably about 0.4% in just a matter of a few weeks. We've seen some of that come back in a little bit lower rates, but it's still kind of a volatile situation pending any kind of clear outcome as to what the oil situation in the world might turn out to be. The 6%, some banks will bid this with a fixed rate for all years, say 4.4% for each maturity. You'll have 10 principal payments over the life of the bonds. But Bank of Utah, which owns your excise tax bonds for the Class C roads, bids what we call serialized coupons. Each maturity has its own interest rate, a unique interest rate, and they go, say, from 3.5 to maybe 4.5 or 4 to 5 or something like that. So we give ourselves a lot of latitude there, but we certainly don't expect to see a rate in this, what we call a true interest cost in the 6% range.
Okay. Thank you. Did you say 10-year term? Was that right? 10-year term?
Correct. And part of that's just driven by the nature of the improvements. You really don't want to have a bond outstanding longer than the life of the improvements.
Agreed.
So we're talking about phase 2 or phase 3 of the road. This is 4. Okay, but this doesn't take care of the water issue either. So what does it do to our potential or future for getting a loan credit? Because we've got another project that's big and bigger too. So.
And I've assisted with a couple of Division of Drinking Water loans that the city entered into in 2020 and 2021. I think the 21 issuance kind of superseded the first issuance. They offered another several $100,000 to complete the project. The revenue pledge for water bonds would be the net revenues of your water system. So what you're pledging for this bond is sales tax and franchise tax, which includes the electric or the
Cell phones
and the taxes on utilities, gas and electric.
Amazon purchases.
Well, that's part of the sales tax.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what you're pledging as the repayment source for this bond. You would typically pledge the water system revenues for the repayment of a water bond.
Okay.
Yep, so this one's coming from the general fund. That bond will have to come from the enterprise fund.
Okay.
And I just wanted to, I appreciate that you gave us this calendar of events of the life of going to July 15th. That's helpful. And just to remind our residents that the reason that we're doing this is because we did not want to raise taxes to have to pay for a road, and this is more consistent and reliable to get the roads done in a timely manner and with a consistent cost.
I think to answer your question though, Steve, also is this would, I believe, and Mark, you can comment on this, but this does tap us out fairly quite a bit.
You don't have much powder left with that
Yeah,
revenue
yeah.
pledge. You do have a 2019 sales and franchise tax bond that I think matures in like 2030 or 2032. That'll give you some more capacity, but you're still, 4 or 6 years out until you really have the ability to issue additional bonds with the same revenue pledge.
So just as a group, is this going to stall the ability for us to make the water line improvements down the road with that?
No, two
absolutely
different, they
not.
consider
Different pots
two
of money.
different entities
Okay,
almost.
so the water would then be paying for the road improvements in that
Yep.
case too?
Yeah, that whole package would come from there.
Okay.
And we can help you look at what your coverage is on the bond payments. Usually you're required to have net revenues less operating expenses, excluding depreciation, at least 125% of what your total bond payments are. So if you had net revenues of 1.25 million, you could have annual bond payments of up to $1 million.
Okay.
So, but we can help you look at, what kind of revenues you may have to generate to meet the coverage for whatever amount of money that you may look to borrow.
I think, if you do the math, it's almost 9%, right? The monthly annual, or the annual payment is almost representation of like 9% of our total budget every year to make the payment back. So it's significant for a small community.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't forget, the thing that we're saving here is we're able to do the work at now's pricing.
Yes.
We've talked about the increases in asphalt and things like that. Those are going to go up much higher than the interest rate that we're looking at. This is the reason that we're doing this.
Sure.
Agreed.
And that is the big buy for doing the bond. And even though we're kind of extending out ourselves, we've got the emergency funds that we're still planning and things like that. And again, when it comes to it, we're only going to bond out exactly what we need. This is the max. So it might give us a little bit of wiggle room, or however we decide to do that in the end. The only thing I have, just to make clear and play the politician here, the way I'm reading this is this authorizes us to make this happen and actually do the signatures to make the bond happen. And we still are going to have, once we get the bids back, we have the opportunity to send that to our finance department or our finance committee and go through that with a fine tooth comb before we actually sign on the dotted line. And it's not actually signing us up for anything.
Hey, Brian,
No.
Yes.
just to clarify, we already have the bids and have given a contract to a contractor. And this did get sent to the finance committee.
No, I'm talking about the bond. When we
Talking about
actually for the bond itself, when we
The
sign
terms.
with the lending agency.
What? Sorry.
It's when we sign for the lending agency, when we actually sign the paperwork to get the money, that we're not, this doesn't lock us into anything. We're going to get bids from different lenders, so to speak, to fund this bond. And this is going to, we're still going to have, way I'm reading it, we're still going to have the time to look at each one of those and decide which one we want to go with. And that'll give time for the finance committee to have their weigh in, and the mayor and the city council and that type of thing. Is that correct?
Well, let me address that.
Yeah.
The parameters resolution actually authorizes the mayor or the mayor pro tem and the city recorder to make a decision regarding what they determine to be the best bid for the city. It doesn't mean the city can't have some method that the mayor wants to reach out to the council and say, this is what we've gotten and this is what we're thinking. But it doesn't necessarily require another formal action by the council. This just gives the mayor and the recorder and the mayor pro tem the ability to act within these parameters on the issuance of the bond. And if there's any thoughts about borrowing less than $1.4 million, I'd want to know that before the bids are sent out. We can modify that a little bit, but that would be my preference.
Okay,
And
that's fair.
just to concur with what Brian said, as a former city manager, if you can borrow at a lower cost than inflation on road repairs, you're money ahead, because deferring road maintenance turns simple maintenance into road rebuilds and rotor-mill and overlays and things like that. So the cost of doing nothing is much more than just the cost of interest and
And a reminder,
inflation.
We had the finance committee do a study on inflation on asphalt and those things, and it's far cheaper to borrow the money and do it now than to pay the price of inflation and labor and everything else. So
this is about $1 million cheaper, this option.
yeah, we did do it. The finance committee did do a study on it. They did some research. So
What
And
I'm
one thing I
saying,
would remind
when we
Brian-
get those offers in, we can review them through the finance committee and everybody else. I get that it authorizes the mayor pro tem, and then the city recorder, but we can send those in the act of transparency to the finance committee and say, can you guys review this one? This is the one we think is the best, and what do you think? And they can point out anything that we might not see, because they're really good at what they do.
I will tell you that some of the bids will be subject to change if you don't accept them on the day that they're offered. Subject to change, of market indexes of upwards and downwards. So usually we have the acceptance on the same day as the bids that are received.
Yeah, I'll probably ping each of you, call you, share with you, and then we'll have talked with Mark, and kind of made that decision. We've kind of gone through the whole process of whether we should do this, what the plan is. We've already got the contracts in place with Kilgore. So we're a little bit further down the road. One other thing to remember, Brian, to your comment of the safety funds. The safety fund conversation, when we discussed that, months ago, is we wanted to have, around $250,000 in the bank at all times. That was if we decided to go with the funding option for this lending path, which pulled savings out to then turn around and pay off that other bond you were talking about, correct?
that was one option.
And we did not opt for that option from your council.
Yeah, basically you've got a bond that's to something percent interest, and to pay off a bond only to borrow more at a higher interest cost doesn't really make sense to me.
100%. So my long story short, we have more than the 250,000 in savings. I don't know what that exact number is off the top of my head, but it's still substantially higher than that 250,000.
I thought we were spending down and getting a lower bond because we were spending down on that.
Yeah, that's
We'll be using some of it, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, but I'm surprised are we not getting multiple offers on this?
We will. We will be getting multiple offers, but the time frame, we would not have time to send that to the finance committee. It's kind of here's your options. Do you want to proceed or not? And we have to make that decision. Hence, this resolution grants
Is there
myself carryover to the treasurer.
Yeah, is there standard verbiage that we can kind of, if it's standard verbiage that everybody uses, I just don't want to have something in the fine print of whatever we sign that's going to bite us that we didn't know about because we didn't have time to read it and review it.
And we'll explain to you the bids that are received, the things that you need to be mindful of. One of the things that we see differences in is what we call call features. And that is the ability to repay or pay down the bonds prior to maturity, where it's only a 10-year bond. We may have a call, somebody may send a bid in, here's the interest rate, but you can't pay it off early for 10 years. Or we may have some that say you can start paying it off early in 3 years or.
Okay, if it's standard, if they're pretty standard like that, and there's not gonna be anything hidden anywhere, I can understand. I'm more of a trust but verify kind of person.
Sure.
And I'm not gonna be able to get through a legal contract of that magnitude without, some time. It's not gonna happen for me in a day. I just want to make sure that we're making sure that we're not signing something that we shouldn't sign, is where I'm getting to.
But Brian, we've worked with Mark in the past and we've had good success with.
They do science does a very good job, Brian, explaining that.
I
And so-
agree. I totally agree, but I'm a little pitchy about that.
Right, but I think part of it is that we're trusting him to advise us on what is a good offer and what is not.
And I,
We'd have enough time, Brian, that we could fill the council in the loop, give them the high overview of it, this one has a penalty if we pay it off early, this one has no penalty. Mark's gonna look at that and,
We'll provide a bid summary and
yeah, and
compare
I think we can
total
take,
principal and interest payments under all the options that we receive and can advise you on things you ought to be mindful of.
and I do appreciate that. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just a little more cautious in signing away that kind of thing, and not having it viewed as just makes me nervous. Not saying I'm not going to vote for it. It just makes me nervous.
Noted. Thank you. Any other questions for Mark? Okay, Mark, thank you
Thanks
so
for
very
being
much.
here.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome to stick around and enjoy the rest.
It's really
of this
exciting.
wonderful, exciting council meeting, or you're welcome to head home.
If you'd like me to stay, I'm happy to.
Your choice, 100%.
Thanks for
Yes,
the.
you won't hurt our feelings.
We appreciate it. If we were you, we'd go home.
I know this is a work meeting, and so.
Okay, we're going to jump back to number 2. The consideration and discussion on the conditional use application for Treehouse Park LLC, which is 3 Bridges, for a temporary on-site rock crushing associated with the construction of the 3 Bridges subdivision. Is this Ted or is this Wayne?
Wayne,
Okay, Wayne, you're up.
He drew the short straw tonight.
You haven't seen the long straw yet.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
This was submitted to us a while back, and the planning commission has had an opportunity to look at it. It's pretty straightforward. Their plans are to do this rock crushing and gravel separation of sizes and so forth that they will use in their roads and other construction there. One of the concerns was the dust that this might accumulate, and they've agreed, and their plans were, so they're not making a concession here. Their plans were to put a water truck on site to wet the area down periodically to keep the dust low. It's our understanding too, as they go through this process with the dirt pile that we've got, that it will be moved further to the east as it's divided up in the different kinds of.
So this will be for our big mountain right by the
Correct.
mailboxes. Just thought everybody should know that.
The removal of the mountain.
Yeah, it's to remove it.
Eventually, yes.
It'll take a
Reduction of
minute.
size.
Slow.
Slowly.
Wayne, could you explain the process? Because it's saying rock crushing, right? And we've had one concern from a resident who's written in. Brian, I don't know if you want to address that, or I can.
There aren't big rocks in this pile of dirt. So it'll be sizing more than anything. If it goes through one size, it'll be in this pile, but I mean, there'll be dust
So
created
it's-
from that.
It's a
but
sifting process.
I
more
don't
than
see there being
Crushing.
a lot of noise in breaking up boulders or those sorts of things there. We didn't.
And that was the primary
But we don't
concern from a
know.
resident was, is there gonna be a seismic activity associated with this? And one thing I wanna make
We already
aware
had that.
is we've actually had this exact same operation on the opposite side of the city for years. With a different construction company over there, in Elk Ridge. And so it's not it's not a nuisance in that regard. Dust, sure, we need to take care of it, but it won't cause seismic issues. It won't cause a nuisance in that regard.
It's not anticipated to. That's correct.
Do they have an estimate of when that project would round up? Is that just over the summer? Is that gonna go through? I mean, I just wondered how long they plan on.
I think it'll be as long as that pile of dirt is there.
Still there.
Years.
So, okay.
Hopefully not.
I have
June,
some
but-
questions. Some
Yeah, Carrie.
questions. The application, I thought it was, very vague. It's not signed, so I was from the applicant. And I wanted to make sure that some of these things are more concrete. Yes, they're going to be rock crushing, but I think we should be putting in there about noise ordinances, the time of operation to make sure that it's in compliance.
That's all in our ordinances.
Right,
and We've
but-
made them aware of
But
that.
if they're-
I met with them on the site.
So that they're
We
aware.
went through all of our ordinances.
Okay.
Because that's by code.
Yeah, that's by code.
Operation. We talked about, it's actually a county noise ordinance, which is more stricter than ours. As well as I think Salem's is a little more stricter than ours, because they're actually gonna be, the operation is gonna be in our city, but the dirt's actually being moved into Salem. So it's kind of both cities involved here.
Yeah.
And they already got one of these for Salem, right?
And then the other thing I wanted to talk
Yeah, they've
about
already got
was.
one going on in Salem with that other pile of dirt.
Was the dust mitigation. I would like to see it a little bit more concrete, managing it through a water truck once in a while.
So that's in their SWIP plan they submitted to us as
Uh-huh.
part of this permit.
But we just didn't see that part, right? So I just wanted to
And it's
clarify.
something that our SWIP inspector inspects, kind of
Mm-hmm.
of our code ordinances. So Mitch, our SWIP inspector, he'll be coming up and inspecting them. Part of that is dust control.
Okay, so if it's not adequate, the SWIFT inspector would require them to water more often or whatever.
Right.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to make sure that our public recognized that we do have someone overseeing that and mitigating that dust.
And we told them they're required to get this SWIP approval in the process, and they were willing to do that, so.
And they got the SWIP approved through the state, and Mitch, our SWIP inspector, reviewed it, and he was good with it. Now he'll be doing his inspections, just to make sure they comply with the SWIP.
How often do they
Which
do
is
the
more than dust.
inspection?
Usually it's monthly.
Oh,
It's either dust or monthly or when they get complaints, it's dust, runoff, mud, whole bunch of stuff that he'll be inspecting.
All right.
runoff. Plus, the county also has provisions for that.
Okay.
Noise and dust as well,
And Salem
And
is
Salem,
doing their
because it also
inspections, so
affects
it's a
Salem.
little bit more.
right.
so.
So if any of our residents are upset about it, when they call Jody or any of us, then you would direct them to our SWIP compliance officer who would take those complaints and then adjust the mitigation accordingly.
No,
It just
we'll be an
because dust doesn't mean
intermediary.
they're not-
Okay,
If it's out of compliance, but dust doesn't mean out of compliance.
Right.
So he has to check the levels to see what's going on and stuff like that.
all right.
And the contractor, they will have to self-audit and submit reports weekly. So it's,
And if we get reports that there's issues or problems, we'll address them and through SWIP and or through Three Bridges. Make sure that it gets addressed, whatever the issue is.
Perfect.
So Wayne, they're planning on just using that for their own stuff? They're not planning on selling it or like
They
hauling
offered
out?
to sell some of it in the past, and I don't know what their exact plans are in that regard, but the majority of it will be in their own, being utilized in their own project there.
So no hope for some sales tax out of some
So,
Fill of dirt that we could get a little,
I think
little
most of
extra
their
sales
sales
tax.
we're talking about were favors to people, not so much that they were
Gotcha.
getting in the selling business, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
okay.
And back to my first comment, do they not need to sign this application?
No, we'll get them to sign it.
Okay.
Actually, there's more to the application. I gave you the front page. They've got to go through, they sign the back of the code after they've read it all.
All right,
So,
just making sure that,
And there's a fee they've got to pay.
right. I see the fee.
Any other questions?
Perfect.
Yes, I do have a couple. I agree with Carrie on having a wet signature from the the applicant. But I would have preferred just for future to actually see that it had gone through our different departments and got those signatures as well, because there is a spot for that. So that I can know that it's been properly reviewed and vetted. We're small enough. I'm not too worried about it, but that would have been preferable just for future. I would like to just bring it up just so we're talking a little bit more about it. One of our residents had sent me an email that I sent out. They were asking about seismographic meters around and worried about their vibrations that could cause issues with their plumbing. I want to make sure that it's stated that this is not we're not having any blasting. If there is more discussion, they can actually talk to Ted, who's very well versed in this. It's only a crusher and screening processes that we'll be seeing. So it is not something that we would ask an applicant to actually put a seismograph, any kind of meters anywhere. And Mayor had pointed out to me that we actually have had this going on for years in our city. So it's not much different from what we currently have. One of the things that they brought up was they are asking for the city to post on their website the ability to submit errant dust reports to the EPA. Again, I think this is more of a SWIP thing. Does SWIP allow for dust reports by the public? And if so, can we put that link on our webpage? Would that be very difficult?
That's a good question. I don't, because the SWIP's handled by the state. So we'd have to go through the state site and look, see if they can submit. I don't know that I've seen that before. Usually if there's something, because there's going to be two different SWIP inspectors on this, both Salem and ours, because the pile is actually in our city, so they'll be doing some screening as they're, and the rock operation, as they're moving the pile, they'll be moving the little equipment with them. It's not like a huge thing, they'll be moving equipment with them, but they're actually moving the material into Salem. So they'll be moving the pile over closer to where they're going to be using it in their infrastructure. So there'll be multiple SWIP inspectors looking at this thing. So we can look to see if there's a way to do that. I'm not positive. We'd have to talk to the state. And also this did go, just for note, this did go to a public hearing as well.
Correct. And this resident was unable to make that and sent me an email. How do we normally just call the SWIP inspector if we got a complaint, if we're complaining?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe it'd be worth checking with them if we can post their number or post a way to put, I don't know, Jody, I don't know how hard, and Dan, I guess, I don't know how hard it would be to put something on the webpage to say, call this number if.
I think we prefer they call us.
Yeah, we don't want them to call SWIP.
Yes, I prefer they call us and then we'll notify the SWIP inspector.
Okay, and if we could put that, dust reports, if we could put that in, I think this would help with some of the concerns there. Just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, so the reason I think we'd like to have them call us instead, because we don't know who's going to be doing, whether it'll be us or Salem. Kind of depends on if there's dust generated in our city, then it would be our SWIP guy we would have reach out to. If it's coming as they're dumping the dirt in Salem, then it would be the Salem SWIP guy that we'd have to reach out to and have to contact.
Okay.
So
maybe we could put Ted's number. Call Ted if you have a problem, if you're having dust issues, so he can figure it out. Because I'm already going to recommend something that Jody's probably already going to strangle me for. So
yeah, and then
let's make Ted pissed at me.
You're welcome to call me. We can reach out to them.
Dan and Jody, would that be hard to put on the website?
I think so my number's already there on the website.
Yeah, but to actually say for dust reports, errant dust reports.
I don't know. We'll have to look to see if those are even I'm not sure there's such a thing.
Well, we've got to be careful too with dust reports because my opinion of dust is any dust, right? But SWIP says some dust is okay and normal, right? And so if we have residents trying to control what the regulation is due to their thoughts and feelings, we are going to drastically exacerbate the amount of work required on, Ted's end, Jody's end, and Mitch's end.
Yep.
And so we want to make sure we can do some education, but we want to let people know that with construction, just like when their home was constructed, dust was created. Now, maybe they didn't build it, but it's part of being in a community. But we also want to make sure that it is not out of control, and we will keep an eye on that as with the whole SWIP protocols.
And I suspect there's going to be a bit of a learning curve. Right up front, we'll probably get some calls about dust. And I think at some point we'll kind of get a handle on what is violation of dust, too much, and where do we fit where it's not violating the permit. We'll probably, after a little while, we'll be a little learning curve for everybody. We'll be able to look at it and say, yes, that's too much, or no. They seem to be within that. Because if we're getting these reports every day from someone, then we're gonna be having our SWIP inspector come up every day. And what we want to try and do is manage that a little bit. We get some training on it and kind of get a feel for where we at. And also the county, they also have dust parameters as well. So I'm sure they'll be involved in that. But I think there's going to be a little bit of a curve as we look at this thing to see what that entails. We don't even know right now what that's going to look like with dust. It may not be, could be dusty, it may not, we don't know. So I agree, Brian, I think there's going to have to be a way to report this. I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. And just us as a city will be monitoring it for a little while to figure out, okay, what is too dusty? Believe me, I check on dust quite a bit. I was down at the bottom of the city today, saw dust up at the top of the hill coming up. And so I took off from the house I was at, went up to see what was going on. Turned out it was just some contractors cutting a driveway. Because as you know, when dust goes up, we usually get fire smoke calls. Which is fun. We like to go on those anyway. But, so I think there's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve. I agree that residents can reach out to us, I think to start with, and then we'll kind of see how we manage it.
Okay, I will respond to the resident and give him that information. And he might call you just so he can have some discussions about his concerns.
I don't know, maybe it's the first comment is, are you seeing too much dust? Please call the city. And then when we get a handle on what is too much and what's not too much, then maybe we can go to a little more serious stuff to, if you see dust that, looks like this or whatever, then file a report or something like that.
Okay. All right,
I think we
thank
also
you.
have to be careful because if we make too big of a deal of it, people are going to be hyper fixated on it.
And let's remember, with all that construction up at the mitigation basin, during that time we built that, we never exceeded EPA standards, and there was quite a bit of dust, right? And we got a number of phone calls, but it never did exceed any standards. We brought the water truck up a little bit more, and I'm sure they'll do that. But yeah, if there's any problems, please call the offices, and we'll, Mitch's number, who is our SWIP inspector, is on our website. And so I guess, they could always try texting that if they really are concerned.
Well, they can reach out to any of us too. We can pass it along.
Exactly. Any other questions for Wayne?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Okay, we're going to move on to number 4, the March 2026 financials and check disbursements. You guys have all had them for a little bit. Any questions there?
Who's answering the questions?
We will answer them.
Just wondering.
I know, I was kind of thinking that as I was looking through.
Between Jody and I think we can, and then if it's a departmental, Ted can tackle it. But I think for the most part, we can answer most of your questions these days.
Yeah, I mean, I look through things. I just want to make sure that it's clear and noted. So for the month of March, we had $22,072 in legal fees. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is in part due to the fact that we have our attorneys, Smith and Harbison, which we have, we pay and do contract work plus litigation work on our behalf. We also then have the insurance that our litigators from our insurance, the trust.
I'm not challenging it or asking for an explanation. I'm just getting clarification, airing out the clarification, I suppose, is what I'm doing.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that's basically, quarter of a pickleball court right there. Just perspective.
Yeah.
We're not measuring
Almost
everything.
pickleball champs of St. George. Very close. You guys were
So
We had some semi-professionals that we were playing against.
those ones from Garden City were a little bit tougher than the rest of them.
Oh, my word.
They were good.
we would have been better if we had.
But we had the best cheerleaders, really. We had the best cheerleaders.
We did have the best cheerleaders.
Any other questions about the
Yeah,
finance?
I'm not really it's kind of a question. It's actually a request. I hate to say this because nobody's going to be happy. Nobody in the staff is going to be happy. I would actually like to see, especially when we have large credit card purchases, kind of a breakdown of what it was that we bought, so that we have some clarity in that as we're going through here. Because I trust everybody. Don't think I don't. But if people ask, hey, we've spent this much money at Costco, or we spent this much money on Amazon, and it could be going to people's homes, I can say, no, this is the things that we bought. Don't know if we're currently doing that, but I would like to see it. I apologize to everybody who has to go through that pain.
Mayor.
Good.
Ryan, actually, this is something we're gonna bring up in staff meeting. Just so you're aware, there is no other city in Utah that provides credit card statements. Now, we're okay with doing it because all of ours have receipts to back up all of our statements. It can be shown what it's for, but we are putting the city at a little bit of an exposure. And we need to talk about some of that. I think that it would be better to come under each department head to review those expenses that go underneath their budget and ask those questions on their budget.
Which would be fine. I know that I've asked you to buy things for the fire department and the EMS. And so it'd be fine because nothing is really going over those, those approval levels. Well, actually there might be some, but it'd be nice to see, especially when we have big expenditures of what it's going to. Just so that we can say, this Best Buy purchase, let's pull that one up and say this was for this particular thing that we needed in the office, and someone isn't thinking that we're taking it. Because I've had a couple of comments where people think we're on the take. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard them, but I have heard them, and think that everybody in the city is on the take, and I don't like it, and I'm looking for more clarity.
Question I would have is how would that clarity be provided? So, for example, for all of our credit card purchases, we submit our receipts to Lori, so she can give you the details of every one of those purchases that we've made, because she has all the breakdown of all the receipts.
And I'm good with that. If I just get, and I'm kind of looking for a way that I can review it before I sign off on, before we vote on it, so that I can be honest with constituents when they're asking me. And saying nasty things. Had a bad week.
Do you really want to be liable for all those details and getting them straight and not messing it up and having all the...
I want to be able to get to them, right? I want to make sure that I can get to them if I need to, and I can also review them just so I say, yep, I feel comfortable with that.
So
Just tell them to talk to Lori.
Just go to Lori and she can get you anything you need.
I think what we've got to be careful here is, this is, I think, bleeding. And this is the line, right? And this is what I'm, as the mayor, wanting to be sure is very clear, is you guys are in charge of the budget. You're in charge of all the execution. You hold the purse strings as the council. Every single one of the transactions greater than, I think I've said $1,500 pretty much. 2025.
1,000, we usually, anything under. is
I have to
500.
sign off on, right? Because so it's going through multiple checks. If for any reason, just so you guys are aware, if for any reason I personally am part of the transaction, I call Janet and have her do that second step. And she comes in and then she signs that receipt. And so every single one of these disbursements are going through 3 different checks and balances. So I would recommend if anybody ever is suggesting that we are on the take, invite them to come into the office.
We're on the give.
Yeah, we're on the very much of the give.
You know, I know that, right? But I mean, I get these, and it's been, like I said, a rough couple of weeks with some of the things that have been said to me. And
I would suggest reaching out to Lori because she can give you details and any of those you're questioning. She has all the receipts and the breakdown of what the expenditures were. I mean, as a staff, we go through our receipts, we mark what accounts they go to and what they're for, give the Lori. So the information's there.
yeah, if we don't, I mean, I'm happy to do that, and that's fine if that's the right way for me to review that, and I'm good with it. That's fine. That way I can say, yes, I signed off on it and I believe everything that's been, I mean, I believe it anyhow. I already tell them that, but I can say that I've seen the receipts and yes, they're valid purchases.
Yeah, and I would encourage it, push back a little, right? I think sometimes we're too nice. Now, I still say be nice. Don't be mean to our residents.
Yeah, but that's not me. I'm not nice.
But, well, you are hostile, Hutchings, that is true. But I think what we should do though is say, hey, if you believe something corrupt is going on, right? Come into the office and talk to us. Let's nip the rumors in the bud because they're just not accurate.
Some people are just gonna make stuff up and they're gonna create stuff that's not there. And that's just the way it is, and that's not gonna change. And you can have all the facts in the world and you can do all the convincing that you wanna do, and you will not convince that person that we're honest and they're wrong. You just won't. You can have all the information in the world and you will not convince them.
And down to
I
every
really do
receipt.
know it.
Yeah, down to on those credit cards, every receipt we track down to the point of there was a receipt that was for $54 and some odd cents, and I didn't know what it was for. I called Amazon, I called the vendor, I finally called the credit card company, and they were able to tell me exactly what it was for, and I was able to go to that person and say, did you charge something here for this, this, and this? And they're like, oh yeah, let me get you that receipt. Well, that's how we do it. I mean, we make sure every receipt accompanies those bills.
I know without a shadow of a doubt that everything is being done on the up and up. But I'm getting accused of signing off on things that are not on the up, that aren't true, and it's frustrating.
Please
Just-
ask them to explain that.
Yeah, have them come in and also understand that the checks and balances are in place. And to a degree, sometimes on these monthly expenses, that is what you guys are voting on, is the system. Not necessarily every penny, but the fact that we have decided and worked together to create the systems that do not allow fraud in our city.
Absolutely.
But if you have questions, you also have the ability to ask those. So, but we probably won't utilize the funds of the city from an administrative standpoint to extrapolate all those every single month.
That's fair. That's fair. I get it.
Okay. Thank you though, Brian. Any other questions? Okay, then we will move on. Ted, the annual sewer system report. I've been really looking forward to this.
Oh, yes. I've been excited to present this to you guys tonight.
Still flowing?
So sewer flows downhill,
Right over to Payson.
unless you have a lift station, then you can lift it. Yeah, we send it all to Payson. No, so every year we have to fill out an annual municipal wastewater. Essentially, it's a planning program is what it is, municipal planning. Basically, it just goes through and gives a little bit of information about our system. We have to put in everything that goes into our system, how many connections we have.
Everything?
What's that?
Everything that goes into this system?
Everything.
Okay.
That's what, when you're
It's a
filling
long
out this
list.
report, that's kind of how you feel. And it talks about we have to report what our sewer system rate is, how many connections we have, do we have a replacement program in place? Do we have a sinking fund for the sewer system, replacement and repair fund? And then it asks, do you have a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan, stuff like that? So I went through, and then the last thing we have to do is you have to present it to council. That's what the state requires. So,
How does that work when some of the system is ours, but obviously the entire system is mostly Payson, so we only have to fill that out as it results, as it is for what's actually in the ground in our city, and then they would pick it up as where it goes in along the way and into Payson's big system. You don't have to report on their whole entire system.
oh, no.
Yeah.
No, this is just what we own as a city,
Okay.
which is only within our city boundaries.
Okay.
So that's what I went through. One thing to note maybe that is probably got to be something that's on our list. We do have a fund that builds, it's a sewer, like water's enterprise fund, right? And we do have money in there to maintain our sewer system. Our sewer system is fairly new, and we did have it videoed about the time I started, so 2.5 years ago. We had the whole system videoed, sounded, to get a condition assessment, and it all came back as in great condition, our sewer. So our system is really in good condition. We do budget money every year to go towards maintenance. We haven't luckily needed much of that. One thing I do want to start, though, is a program of videoing so much sewer every year. They say every 5 years you're supposed to video your sewer just to check it. So we have about 5 miles of sewer lines in our city. So I'd like to do like a mile or so every year. So every 5 years, we're videoing the whole sewer. So we do have money that goes back into our sewer system, and but that's a fund we got to continue to build. So as we look at our sewer system replacement, we'll want to continue not spending all of our maintenance money, but save some of that in the enterprise fund, so that we have some replacement costs down the road. And that's really what the state's concerned about these days, is because what they're finding is a lot of cities, and you know, right, so it's a balance when you're in a municipality between what do I charge for my rate and what do I put into my fund, a slush fund for replacement costs. Most times, municipalities in the past have elected to keep their rates lower, but then they're basically spending everything they have. And what they're finding is now cities are getting 20, 30 years down the road, much like us, and there's no fund to replace the system. And that's when you have to start going out and getting loans and grants and all that kind of stuff. So, and that's kind of how our system is right now. We do have a little bit of money we're setting aside. What I'm going to propose that we probably look at in the near future is, I haven't had a lot of time to dig into the sewer yet, still getting through roads and water, but, and sewer is not a major utility for us because we only have about a quarter of our city that's covered with sewer. But start looking at what are we setting aside. It's about a $3 million system we have. What would it take to start setting aside every year so that when the system reaches its life in 50 years, we've got some money there to start replacing it.
Does that replacement fund come from the entire city or only those who are users?
So right now, only those that are users pay towards the system. If you're on septic, you don't pay towards the sewer. It's a user fee for those that are on the sewer.
It's fee-based fund on that one.
Yeah.
So currently, we don't have any reserve allocated for.
So we've been setting aside about 10,000 a year or something like that is what we have. And that's been, since I started here, what I've seen is about 10,000 a year. So we set aside for, you know, maintenance and stuff like that. We don't really use a lot of that. But what I'd like to do is when we get digging into this, what would it take for us to set aside? Not that necessarily means raising our sewer rates, but what should we be looking at as capturing through our depreciation money and stuff like that is to set aside in our funds so that we do have some replacement costs down the road. So other than that, we have about, well, like I said, a little over 5 miles of sewer. It's all 8-inch, been installed since about 2002.
And we have about 133 connections to the sewer of the 560-ish homes.
How many?
133. And if you want to get into the details of our sewer system, just give me a call. I'm happy to discuss all the details of sewer with you. We do not treat sewer. It all goes to Payson to be treated. And we do our part of our fee, well, the majority of our fee that residents pay goes to Payson for treating the sewer.
Yeah.
We do have a little bit of that money that we keep, and that's because of our maintenance and setting aside.
Thanks.
Any questions? Sweet. We can check that off the list now.
Perfect. I'm so proud of you. You're about to leave. You can just,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
You want to
next.
see how fun this is? This is the report I had to do.
if everybody wants some good reading, it's right there. Grant update.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna ask one question. Is our fee to Payson, is it affiliated with the EDU we were talking about last council meeting? The estimated daily water usage rate, or how is that calculated, those fees?
Generally, yes. So they charge us a set rate. We have an agreement with Payson. And in that agreement, it's a set rate they charge each of our residents, or well, they charge us, see, we charge our residents. But that's based on the daily water use. Because essentially they assume what water you're using goes back down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they do charge us per connection based on kind of the average water use.
So if, okay, gotcha. So if there were a reduction at a state level of estimated daily usage, that could for some relief potentially. I'm just theorizing here, but
There's potentially, yeah.
I'm still
yeah.
looking for.
We actually, when we
Insights
did
to
our
that.
agreement with Payson, we actually did it on the actual use and not what the state
Gotcha.
requires. So I don't know that we would get a lot of benefit from that because we're already doing that.
Okay. Cool. Sweet. Sorry. Thanks.
You're good. Any other questions before I accidentally cut Steve off?
I was slow.
You're good. Okay. Grants.
Grants. So we have a few grants out there. I'll give you a couple of reports. The assistance to firefighter grants which is the one we got from FEMA. We bought our new SCBA's through, got everything submitted to FEMA to get reimbursed for that one. And then Homeland Security shut down. And like the very next day after I got it all approved, they shut down. So we've been waiting for that one for a little while. I did finally got hold of FEMA. I called every so often and just kept getting voicemail saying we're not here due to the shutdown. They shut their website down and everything. Finally got hold of someone last week. They're back. I did confirm with her that everything is approved. They have everything on from us that they need. Everything's approved on their side. Just waiting to release the money. And she couldn't say when they'll release the money. But so that's an update on the AFG grant.
The city has paid that bill already, right? We're just waiting for reimbursement.
Right. We paid the bill. Yeah.
It's called AFG grant.
AFG, Assistance to Firefighter Grant. Yeah. So far, no word from the Utah Outdoor Recreation Grant we submitted for the pickleball court. Haven't heard from them yet. I've checked and they haven't scored them or anything yet. So still, I'm not sure what that timeline is to hear on that one. We did also submit for a trail grant to Mountain Land Association of Governments to complete this first segment of our trail. As a TAC committee member, the TAC committee has been going through all of those grants. About a month or so ago, we went through the project idea presentations. 44 projects were presented to MAG. They have about 110 million to 120 million in money this year it's their 2-year cycle. There were about at the time, a little over $200 million in projects submitted. We went through the first round of what they call project ideas. There were 44 project ideas. Those then got feedback, got presented to the TAC committee, one of which we presented for our trail. After that, there was feedback from the entirety of the committee. 14 of those projects dropped off the list. We met yesterday as a TAC committee and went through the remaining 30 in concept planning phase. and we ranked them. The staff has now ranked them. Right now, ours is ranked about 19 out of the 30. And it just all depends on, they're gonna send out the list. I'm gonna try, they haven't sent it out yet, but I'm gonna try and kind of estimate. We're about right on the bubble of whether we get funded or not. We're really close. So, we'll see how that goes. They also talked about maybe breaking out a few trail projects separate from road projects, because there's both trails and roads, and transit. So they talked about maybe they do a kind of a trail package and a roads package type thing. They're not sure. But basically, once they rank them all, we're gonna meet one more time next Monday, just to make sure we're okay with the ranking, see if we adjust anything, and then it goes to the board, which the mayor's a member of, as a recommended list. And then the
Oh, yeah,
MAG
right, yeah.
staff just starts allocating money until they run out down the ranking list. So we're right on the boat.
You've got my vote, Ted.
Oh, you're on the board. You're gonna be the one,
Yeah, you gotta start,
voting that's up the list.
and making your calls to
I'm
the other
working on
other
it.
mayors, right?
I have already started.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay.
Perfect.
And then, it seems like we had one other grant out there, but,
Water,
yes, sorry, yeah, Burgess Owens. So we did submit a grant to, Burgess Owens for a federal earmark for a water project. Haven't heard anything back on that one yet. I suspect it's gonna take a little while. It's gotta go back for, federal earmark. So each senator is allowed to take 20 projects. And no, 20 or 21, 20 or 21. I think it's 20. So of the 20 that Burgess Owens office is taking for federal earmark, we ranked 4. Number 4 out of the 20. So there's a shot we'll get something. Maybe not, we requested, I think it's 2.4 million or 2.9. I don't know, we'll get the full thing, but there's a good shot we'll get some for water replacement.
Talked to him on Saturday and said, we're crossing our fingers, please do whatever we can.
Yeah, I emailed him last week to his representative, the one I've been working with in his office. And same thing, said that I was asking for an update, but I never heard from him.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. And we will move to the departmental reports unless anybody has any questions for Ted on grants. Okay. Community development, public works and fire.
All right, so Public Works and Community Development. So just an update on our retaining wall out here. I had 2 different geotechs come and look at it for us. One who lives in the city and one that Councilman Johns recommended. Met with both of them, and they both came independently to kind of the same assessment. The wall seems to be fairly stable, barring a major event, an earthquake or something like that. Mainly the concern is with some of the rocks are just fracturing a bit, not like falling apart, but just pieces of them breaking off. It's kind of shelly stuff. They both assessed we've probably got about 3 to 5 years to, an estimated timeline that we should think about replacing it within. So it's nothing urgent, nothing like immediate. That was a huge concern to them, but suggested we start budgeting and within the next 3 to 5 years replace it with something a little different. So, and they gave some estimated pricing and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that maybe at the staff level and just see, I'll put together some prices and see what we want to start doing, come back with some ideas on what we start setting aside to budget for the wall, maybe to replace the next 3 years.
Great.
So also I wanted to ask, just 2 more things, sorry. We got an email yesterday. So as you know, the county's redoing the roundabout. The timeline of it slipped a little bit. It may or may not happen this summer.
Oh.
Their plan was to make it happen this summer, but they're getting to a point where they think they've still got to work through right-of-way issues, and that's what may hang them up a little bit. If they can't get through those quick enough, they may end up bumping a year. However, we've been working with their design team, and they asked me yesterday what we would like for landscaping in the roundabout. So I want to throw that out at the council. Just, you don't have to answer it now, but throw me some ideas. They said they're willing to put back what we have now, trees. They'll put back the flagpoles for sure. If we want trees, they'll put trees back. If we want more of a xeriscape type stuff, they'll put more xeriscape. I just knowing the issues we've had with irrigation in that thing, I'm hesitant to put plants, but I'll do whatever the city wants to do. The trees do look nice, but we keep having sprinkler breaks and stuff like that flood it. And I'm afraid it could, potentially result in some damage to Roundabout.
I think residents would prefer some sort of greenery there because it is the entrance to the city.
It is Woodland Hills.
Yeah,
not
and
Rock
so,
Hill.
Yeah.
and so I think that they would prefer that.
But we could have a big granite mountain with a big bronze elk on there.
Yeah, to remind us that that used to be.
Welcome
the
to Woodland
trip
Hills.
for the-
I bet Summit Creek could pay for that.
I told Richard and Glenn.
Bucky, did you hear that?
He's not listening.
I saw his heckle like this.
Sweet, thank you, Bucky.
We want
He
to
did, he was bouncing
bronze
his head up
elk
and
in the
down.
roundabout, Becky.
A big
Sponsored by-
granite mountain with a bronze elk
I
in the
think
new
it's-
roundabout?
I think it's only about 60 grand, so.
That's it.
So there are a few things they're looking at in-kind type stuff. If we want a bronze elk, or I told Richard and Glenn we could put statues of them in the roundabout. I can't remember right there.
Yeah.
Or if we want a city entrance sign, those will be costs that we'll probably have to bear. They'll put them in, but we'll have to provide them with things that are kind of beyond what's there to a limit.
We'll just tell them there's a big bronze elk in there right now. It's gonna
Does
replace
that
it.
include any utility in there? I know we have power in there now, I'm
We
guessing.
do have power, and they're willing to put power back in there to light the flag poles and stuff like that. They'll replace all that. They'll replace everything we have. If we go too extreme beyond that,
Yeah,
they'll want us to bear some of the brunt. And then I'll also end up signing a interlocal agreement with them to maintain it again like that.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
What's just out of curiosity, what is like a standard protocol for visibility over a roundabout? Like I've noticed a lot of the roundabouts, like the newer ones in like Spanish, they're basically real low level, like so you can see on, all the different cars coming in and out.
But
Ours
those
is
ones
a
are
little
really
bit taller.
small and narrow.
Right, but ours is a little bit taller where, you
Yeah.
don't see the view, and I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, do they like for like headlight glare and things like that to knock that down? Is there like a standard thing that they prefer to see inside of a roundabout?
So there's I don't know, there's like when you're looking at the technical design of a roundabout, I don't know if that comes up in the technical design, but there is some theory out there that when you have trees like ours and you limit that visibility through the roundabout, people tend to be more cautious because they can't see through the roundabout, so they slow down more to look for oncoming traffic. Having the taller walls in that, it does create some of Spanish Forks. I did talk to, so the engineers that are designing this one have also done some Spanish Forks. So I talked to them about maybe they've done one down there that's kind of a rock instead of concrete. The reason they did that is because if someone crashes into it, it's much easier to replace a rock than a concrete wall, right? So there's kind of mixed reviews on what you do as far as height and what the material is. I don't know if that's really engineering technical stuff as it is more of when you're looking at safety, replaceability,
all of it.
aesthetics, stuff like that.
I've always wondered that, like,
I know some people
Is
don't
it better
like
to see
trees
through it or
because
better
you
not?
can't see through. So I do hear reports back. I wish we didn't have those so we could see through there. But when you talk to some of the
Slow down.
designers of roundabouts, they say it's actually not a bad thing because it slows people down more.
do we think that, I don't know, Sherry, you're online, but if PTR would look at the possibility of how we would like to have that, if it's changed at all, but also maybe a campaign to get donations for that statue of some sort. I think that citizens would think that was a cool idea and maybe some of our, some people would want to donate extra and some people would want to donate a little bit. But I think that would be a worthy ask from the Parks and Trails Committee. And we do have some sculptors in town that might be.
That's who I want one
willing to-
from, but that'll be,
They
that's
might,
probably
they
40
might, they
grand.
might be willing to
Already
give
got a
us
price
the
on it.
friends and family discount.
Yeah, you still pay it for bronze.
Well, yeah, you're still paying a lot of money, but it might not be 100,000, maybe it's only
So-
gonna be 40,000.
So I have spoken with Mark already on
Okay.
that front. And well, I've mostly spoken to his wife because she's the business end.
Yeah,
So he has an eagle, a bald eagle, that is called Liberty. and it stands about 6 feet tall. And so it's kind of an eagle flying,
But
on
where's
its
the elk
end.
come in?
Well, elk is kind of in Elk Ridge, right? And so there's been thoughts on maybe not an elk simply because our neighboring city is Elk Ridge. And us, it'd be a little presumptive, but
I don't think so.
something maybe
We're
for
the
the
ones that get
BTR
the elk
committee to
at
think about.
the roundabout. Did you see them there
So-
yesterday? They were,
But if
Elk
we
Ridge has no
get,
elk.
if we get something that he's already sculpted, there is a much lower price, because then all he has to do is cast it in wax and then take it to the
okay.
to the refinery, and then he just has to get it cast in bronze versus sculpting something. So if you're going to do a mountain or boulder stack with an elk on it, that is a very, very custom piece. And a bronze at that size, you're looking potentially in the 6 digits.
Right. So we might have to look outside of just a local person. We might look to the surrounding areas for other sculptures.
You're talking bronze.
bronze that they sell a lot of.
Yeah, if we go down to Home Depot, when that aluminum guy's down there, we could really score big.
No,
bills.
he's out in front of the steakhouse usually.
Yeah.
By Home
Yeah,
Depot.
by Home Depot, right?
Yeah, I was thinking of that guy.
We could get a steak and then check out the.
He also sells little green men. That would be fun. We could throw a few aliens.
But I know there's a few sculptors, I mean, a few cities
Well, we
have
can discuss this.
sculptures in their city, and we could maybe ask
I
them.
love Park
to
City
use-
that they have the
Ma-
buffalo.
The other
Springville
one-
has quite a few.
Ivan's,
Mhm.
at the entrance of Snow Canyon. I know, I mean, this is 15, 20 years ago. They spent about $1 million on that roundabout, all the statues in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And they're all like super custom bronze. I know the developer that worked that through with the city.
Maybe we should have a fire geyser, just a fire tornado that just.
No.
No.
I try not to cut you guys off too much, but we're moving
Oh, Sherry
on.
has her hand
Can we get
up.
that helicopter?
We are moving on.
Sherry has her hand up.
Sherry, I'll let you talk here now.
I'm, as PTR, I'm willing to put a blurb out there on the Facebook page, what the community would like to see, just so we can get community input. Yeah.
No, I think that would be great. If you could, before you send that, Sherry, could you just send me the print copy on that, the text that you want to send out?
You bet.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. What do you got next?
See this page right here? You guys just get comfortable. Just kidding. One last thing, and this is nothing to make a decision on, just wanted to see what the council's appetite is for this, to see how far I pursue it, but.
No.
There is a helicopter that's for sale, so I've been looking into warning signs, for our fire station. So
Oh.
these would be warning signs that would replace, so right now we have these, a fire truck here, sign, a fire truck down there. They're just fire station type signs. These are actually warning signs that would activate when we come in the station, there would be a button we would hit that would flash those lights to warn traffic we're actually leaving the station. And then they would be active for like 5 minutes, give us time to get going, and then they deactivate.
That's a great idea.
So it requires a bit of an equipment setup. It would be a couple of signs, and then you would need a repeater, because on one side, it would have to come they'd have to set up the equipment in the station for the button and everything, the antenna that would then talk, but it can't reach the one sign, so it would have to have a repeater over here that then reaches down to that sign. I think this would be okay. Bottom line is we're roughly looking in the neighborhood of probably 20 to 25,000 to set those up. So nothing to make a decision on, but I had just been working with a guy to figure this out. It's always been, I think, nerve-wracking for our department when we're leaving, because we get a lot of people flying up and down these hills. And when we're leaving lights and sirens, sometimes, it's hard for people to catch their brakes when we're coming out, or we have to catch our brakes.
It's such a blind spot.
And it is a blind spot. So it's kind of a warning system that would flash when we hit.
That makes sense.
So it would catch their attention. It wouldn't be flashing all the time, because the problem with flashing all the time is that people get used to them, then they don't know when it's emergency or not, but they would flash when we're hitting the button, leaving.
So the resident that's right there across the street on the corner, he's kind of extra happy. So where would these signs be? Would they not be on his property, hopefully?
So they would almost be about where the
It's kind of grumpy.
current sign is. So there's one up here. It would be about where that sign is up here. When you come down to look at that fire station, the one down here would actually go down. This house right here on the corner has the driveway that comes out kind of right on the band. It would go kind of below his driveway down there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
talk to
that'd be,
both of them. That'd be
And then
good.
we'd have to put a repeater right here in the corner of our city facility to get the signal down to it. I met with the guy, kind of went through it. But anyway, think about it.
yeah, I think because you could use it for that, for when eventually, you know, for fire or ambulance or even snowplow coming out, because, you know, those are big equipments too. And unless you see the light, you know, and I think.
Okay, I backed out of my driveway one time and Ben about took me out. It was fun.
Snowplow?
Yeah.
I had to dive off in the ditch once when Corbett was driving the big orange one day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
See, there's a difference between almost and did.
Yeah, I flipped out and he was right there and I went, oh,
That was John. That wasn't me.
that was you.
This has always been a concern. One accident, you know, I mean, the challenge is when you're responding in an emergency, you're going to help somebody. If we end up in a wreck, now not only are we not helping that person, but we've created another incident.
Yeah.
So sometimes you gotta look at the value of money versus
Yep.
value of life. So
Perfect, yeah.
I think that's all I've got.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Okay, Wayne, Planning Commission and Code Enforcement.
All's good.
You've seen our new city offices out here in the parking lot.
Yeah, I was wondering about those.
That'll be our new mailboxes. So.
Temporary mailboxes.
We don't know when those will be in effect though, because
Because
Ted
now the
just told us
roundabout's
that
in
it might
delay.
not be delayed.
There's several moving parts to that. One is whenever the county's gonna start working on the roundabout down there and the demo of our current mailboxes down there. Part of the new mailboxes sufficient for our city have been ordered. Three Bridges has ordered those, so we're waiting for their arrival. I would anticipate sometime in the next couple of weeks. They're willing to store them for us until we have this container built out and framed so that the mailboxes, they're insert, so that they will insert into the trailer. Once the new facility is available, those inserts will come out and we'll move them down to the new facility. They'll already be marked with names and addresses and so forth, so that'll take care of that. This is a container that was over at the salt shed and it was being used for storage. We took all the stuff out of it that's sitting out over there. Some of it needs to be more protected. We have a smaller container up at the water tank, and tomorrow we're moving that to the salt shed and will be used then to put maybe some of these more environmental sensitive things, lumber.
Or
maybe some other things in
repurposing
there.
existing
Repurposing it.
equipment.
Right.
How are we, because it's anticipated it's gonna be very hot this summer, how are we going to be cooling that facility? Oh, yeah, we need well, what happened to my blanket? I'm saying I'm freezing too.
I didn't know that.
Oh, my word.
Well, I got up to look at the thing.
You got me up. Thank you.
You're spoiled. It's because she's mayor pro tem. She gets everything.
No, it's just because I made friends with them in St. George.
Because it's right there.
I know,
It's
it's
just doping
freezing in
under.
here. I already went over to see if we could fix it, but it's cold.
Oh,
Dan,
yes,
it's
right
cold
around
too.
I
there.
want to know about the cooling system of this as people, especially those who have to walk in all the way to the back and get their mail out. How are we going to keep that temperature not getting extra hot?
I would think with the
Or not?
with the 30 seconds that it takes them to walk into that facility, they can keep their car running and jump right back into an air conditioner car. If need to be, we could probably put a fan, just a air fan in there.
We have a
We'll see.
circulation fan, and if it really gets to that point, we will figure something.
I have a
We
big,
need to put some roof vents. That would make it.
There's already a vent in there on the corners for circulation.
I can donate.
We
I
just-
have a big fan.
We
I'm
just don't
willing
want
to donate.
anybody calling Dutson saying, hey, the city is doing something.
Somebody
And there will be
responded.
cameras on it as well.
Yes, cameras, we know cameras.
So a suggestion's been made that we have a little city contest. Think about it, for kids and artists to draw, to tag the container somewhere or another, and then maybe have a judgment of it and award somebody.
Name the temporary mailboxes contest, is that what you're talking
No,
about?
to
Maybe.
tag the,
Oh, to like spray paint it, graffiti.
yeah, but
However they would want to do
I'll
it.
end up on Jody's Jeep.
Urban art.
No.
Well, I was thinking of also another option would be to have it tagged in a more professional way with regards to our America 250.
Oh, that might be fun.
So maybe a big, huge flag, an eagle, something. But maybe what we do is we have a submittal on the design of it versus the actual tagging.
Yeah,
But
I
something to
think
think
that
about.
might be a good idea.
keep that in mind as we go forward with any ideas and
Yeah.
so forth.
County.
that you have.
We could wrap it.
I've already
It's our
acquired those.
container, so we can kind of do with it as we want.
Yeah, there's probably a few people, I mean, I'm trying to think of the mayor who does this. And because they were getting so many people tagging around the city. And instead he went to them and said, hey, if you'll stop this and clean up, each of you can put in your tagging. And they would do one section every month and the person would come and do it. And so that they still had an outlet for tagging, but they were chosen then so that they wouldn't do it somewhere else. But I bet you there's somebody who's good at it.
We could use the salt shed for something like that.
No, we're not tagging the buildings.
Well, it's right next to the golf course. Maybe they would appreciate
We're
it.
not starting that.
On code enforcement, we've gotten 3 complaints and one's resolved and we're working on the other 2, so just for your information.
Have we sent them through the new form?
No,
Okay. Let's send them through the new form.
we're working on that.
Perfect.
Very
We're
good.
not doing it.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Okay, mayor and city council reports. Personnel, everything is going well, and I do have an update. I'm gonna request that we go into a closed session for personnel matter. Legal update, really, there isn't too much beyond your question during the financials there, Steve, is we are currently covering both sets of attorneys, and thus that number is so high. And we're looking at that strategically in a number of different ways, potentially. So, Councilmember Hutchings, Planning Commission.
Sorry about that. So with the planning commission, Wayne, you're supposed to take care of that for me. I don't think you did. The planning commission talked about the conditional use for 3 bridges for the rock crushing and the sifting of the material. And they recommended to go ahead and pass that on to us. Again, we had that discussion already. And they talked about the new plat for the Summit Creek. And I believe that was pretty much it. So that's all I've got for them.
Wonderful. I actually forgot, I do have Aaron here for emergency management.
I just have 4 items to share with you guys. Today I was at the county EM meeting and we listened to the National Weather Service representative. He's giving us an update in regards to forecasts of this summer's potential weather to expect, and particularly in relationship to our fire risks. He said that we've already had in the past 6 months the highest record temperatures in our history. So it's translated into a very low snow pack, and which right now our water that we've got in the city in the state is actually not bad. The problem is the snow melt that usually comes in May, June, July is not going to be there. And so they're expecting, particularly for this area here, June and July will be the above normal fire activity that we should be aware of. And we already knew that was probably going to be the case, right? So I'm just kind of selling it to the choir. But what I want to propose is a fire drill that our city has citywide. Not that we actually leave the city, but we act like we're going to and don't. That we test our communication system with the general public. We test the ability of them to be able to respond back to us, letting us know that they're evacuated, and then test our internal staff on how they're going to react to it by setting up our EOC system and testing everybody's skill levels on being able to do that. So I'm proposing a date of June 20th. It's a Saturday, 10 a.m. And I don't know if there's a conflict.
Not on the city calendar I'm aware of. No events or anything.
Okay. If that's okay.
Is that Father's Day weekend?
That's what I'm thinking.
21st is Father's Day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes people go out of town, but it's all right, because they would notify that they're not in town.
This is Father's Day, not Mother's Day. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Come on.
Father's Day
Okay.
has lots of.
So if you guys agree to that, I've got a,
Coordinate with our staff, because if he's gone, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah, let's bring this to staff meeting on Monday.
okay, because there's a lot of planning we gotta do.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys agree with that, then I've got a timeline to get things done by, so that we're prepared to do the best results.
But even if people are out of town, that's part of the process, is them being able to send a notification, I am not home.
Correct, and that's what I expect to happen, and I want to coach people to let us know that, yes, they're in Hawaii on vacation, don't worry about them, their house is empty. And things like that. So that was,
Although they might want you to save their chicken.
that's possible, yeah. And so-
I'm free.
So we
can
might,
fly.
we might want to talk about, that in our staff meeting, how we might help people with their animals. Then, give you an update on the generator. I might have found a way to save us $20,000 on that. Say, yay. But it would require us to hardwire the generator to the building, to be able to shortcut that $20,000 cost, because part of that $20,000 cost was a stupid coupling. And hardwiring, I found out, is actually just as good and a lot cheaper. Just requires us to have a qualified electrician do the wiring, which we kind of know a few of those, at least one.
We know a few of them.
Yeah. So I was going to pursue that and give you guys a new update on that on the next city council meeting, so you guys can say, yeah, we're good with saving 20 grand, and we'll move forward with the other expenses. Okay. And then also I mentioned last council meeting that I told you there was a service that the county has that tells us about what happens to during a major disaster where a facility down in the valley catches a fire and blows up, and then the plume is accumulated. Just to let you know, I got access to that today. So we'll be able to take a look at that service and see which businesses are within a certain range of Woodland Hills that could affect us. And if there's none, then I'll check that off.
The other thing is if there was a chemical spill on the freeway or even in Highway 6, sometimes those plumes can come up and over as well, depending on the jet stream.
Okay. So just giving you the updates on those things. I think there's.
Do you want to mention the earthquake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention that in the emergency manager meeting this morning, saying that we activated our EOC for a 2.5 earthquake.
I know.
Our EOC was everybody texting. Did you feel that? Did you feel that?
Yeah, we talked about it at the county level, but everybody kind of laughed at me. So. I
Well,
would
I had sent a text to them all. Did you guys just feel that? They're like, no.
they're laughing at you too, so.
I know.
But it's a good wake-up call for those who have never felt an earthquake. If they did feel it, it's kind of cool, but
And heard it.
Coming from-
It was a hearing.
coming from California, I don't recognize anything unless it's over 4.
Same.
Yeah.
But I did think of you when everyone texted from the ward. I'm like, Erin's gonna like this.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, what was funny is there were a few people that were a little dramatic about it on Facebook, and I just kind of chuckled. I'm like, my house just made a weird noise.
Okay.
It was about it.
Any other questions? That's my 4 things.
No.
Okay. All right.
Okay, Councilmember Johns, Public Safety.
Yeah, so we had a meeting just before the previous council meeting, and that was just before the Maple Days as well. So just talking about the events coming up this year, just making sure that we're ready with different needs. Nothing too exciting on that front. This Saturday though, we do want to let everybody know we're doing the Fire and EMS Expo. So that will be down at the park. We will have Life Flight Helicopter. We're going to be doing a demonstration on some of the Jaws of Life and some of those tools and things like that. So it's going to be
Starts at 11?
11, right?
11 to 2.
11 to 1.
11 to 1.
Oh, I have 11 to 2.
11 to 2.
That's so you can help clean up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I thought it was 11 to 1, but some people might stay till 2.
I'll give
Dan's been doing advertising, and he's done some really cool graphics and stuff for it. So
Yeah.
Looks
kind of
good.
fun.
Yeah.
So we'll have some lunch. We should have enough lunch this time too. And
Yeah, last year we ran out of food,
Hot dogs and chili.
yeah.
Sweet.
which is crazy.
So part of that, and this will be really good for the residents, springboarding off what Aaron was talking about. It is a dry year. We've already had a lot of brush calls, wildland calls, and it's probably just going to be a dry summer. So we're going to have a sign-up booth where anybody can get a, what are we calling it, consultation appointment with the fire department, so that we can come and assess your property, just make sure it's safe. Not in any sort of a violation catch way, but hey, how can we help you improve? What kind of ideas? So we will have that, and we would encourage everybody to get their neighbors out, because the more of that we can do, it's good for all of us. So
And I know there's several people in town, especially some youth, who have advertised that if you get your assessment, they'll come in and you can pay them relatively affordable to get that mitigation work done. And we might encourage some of those who have posted to be near there so that they can hand out their flyer.
yeah, if anybody knows of those, that would be great. So yeah.
You think we can set up some room for them to put their flyers up, especially for the youth? But even like Preston, not a bad idea. I mean, the city, our wildland crew does it. We've got youth, and we've got Preston and some other people that might be willing to do that. And we could set up a table. That's a really good idea, Carrie, to set up a table there that they can kind of give them contacts.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
So we're just hoping we can get a real heavy community involvement, just because it will be.
Maybe one other thing to mention as part of that is, many of you know, the state has put out a new severity map to determine if your house is actually located in an extreme wildland area. We'll have a computer up there with the Portland address and show people where they're at or what the state. Now, once again, this is a state map, not a city map. What they have assessed their area to be in. Extreme. We're all in a fairly severe, but a portion of the city is extreme. So people can look at that and see how that affects them. As you know, House Bill 48, they're going to start charging a fee for those that are in extreme wildland areas. It's been delayed till 2027 now, but we can show them on the map and show them how to get to the map. That way they can know, and then we can look at, like Steve said, consultation with them
Right.
to figure out what they can do with their houses and stuff.
Well, and also some of those, because those maps are out, there have been some insurance companies who have looked at the map and then made changes to insurance based on those maps that have nothing to do with the city. It is those state maps. And so that might be another way we can inform the residents of why their insurance company may be talking to them about the wildland interface ordinance and this new state law.
A lot of people are aware of it because I've gotten lots of inquiries.
Yeah.
We can show them how to look it up and show them their house, that kind of stuff too.
Oh, well, some residents think that that map is the city's map, and I've been telling them, no, it's a state map. But we need to just maybe, that would be a way for them to maybe understand it a little better.
What's that, Diane? Sorry.
I'm curious if there's anything that needs to be done at the park regarding, do we need to clear any areas? It could be a service activity where people are learning exactly how it's done. How to look at it in conjunction with this.
It's a great idea. In fact, that's,
Perfect.
yeah, I think that's a great thing, and maybe that's something we can merge with the with Sherry and your Parks and Rec stuff, because I think there's plenty of opportunity that we could do, like clearing, training, and things like that.
There was a ward that was going to do some clearing and cleaning up right before the Maple Festival, but then it snowed.
Well, we were still there.
Yeah.
Our
You were
ward was
still there?
and it was
They were still there in the snow.
All right, good job.
It was a park.
I wondered.
Yeah, they still went.
Yeah, Square Donuts, I think, or something.
Uh-huh.
So bottom line is there will be something for everybody. I mean, even if you're an adult, we'll give you a chance to run some hoses and see what kind of water pressure there is, and drag some things around, and it's really pretty fun. So
The kids have a
Player
lot of
packs, we're
fun.
gonna have extrication tools up there this year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron?
I'm gonna provide vitals.
Oh yeah, and Aaron's gonna check your vitals, make sure you're alive.
Maybe it would be good to have some of those reels from the fire department and the mayor and stuff to put on social media so people know that that there's more things this year than maybe we've had in the past.
I feel a TED video coming on.
Yeah, a TED video would be good, and an Aaron video.
You were very popular last time.
It's hard to be a star, it just is.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah, Ted likes to
But
be.
but I think that engages the citizens when we have those little videos out, and and then being able to reach out and say, hey, if you're one of the kids in town that's helping with mitigation work, we have a table for you.
Yeah, that's great.
Just a few different videos. So we only got a few days
That
until
can
it's.
help get you
what's that?
prepped so that you.
Actually, I don't really like being on camera, but it was much easier. I could explain more, much quicker, because I'm not a typer. That's why I don't do a lot of social media and all that kind of stuff.
We're gonna talk about
That's why I'm
that.
always the last one, TED Talk into the newsletter before it goes out.
I got nothing for the newsletter so far. Nobody said.
So we have 3 days.
Got 2 more
So-
days.
So we have 3 days till it happens, right? So if Ted did a video and Steve did a video and Dan did a video, that would give us 3 days of videos on getting people there.
Sure. Is the emergency manager allowed to put anything in the newsletter for?
Absolutely.
Well, maybe. Janet?
Yeah, you just email it to me.
Okay.
We always need more content. We're always looking for content.
Okay, we got 2 days.
Perfect. Okay, John?
Well, I got 2 days to get the newsletter done, so.
One day.
Man with 2 first names?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the man with 2 first names.
Okay, wonderful. Janet?
Janet, so I don't have anything submitted for the newsletter yet. And who has this month? Brian, you may. I have a sticky note with everybody on there, so it's you. Thanks. I gotta get a couple too.
So Brian and Aaron are getting things in today, tomorrow.
And Ted and Wayne.
Well, I can't do both the video and. write.
Yes, you can. Yes.
Because the newsletter is turning into a vlog, right?
Yeah.
See my video.
PTR, we haven't met. Sherry sent me a big old text and I was picking my dog up from the dog hospital, so I'll have to look at it. And then just on events, we have a couple of names for possible new chairs for Woodland Hills Day. So we're just in the very beginning. I'm gonna reach out to those people in the next couple of days and see if they're interested, and that if I can get somebody hook, line, and sinker, a good couple that would help. The Lowe's will be the senior couple that's over Woodland Hills Days, and this new group will be.
If you need some suggestions, there's a couple that I have that might.
Just text them to me. I've got 6 names, I think, so far, like 3 couples. And I like to have 3 or 4, so I usually get turned down a few times. So that would be good. You know, and I've thought about putting it out there on social media, but we try to pick people that we know have done things or helped in the community or have an interest to serve. We kind of do that and try to get different parts of the community. So I'm trying to not get people that are in my area. So we're looking at, one of the names is from Summit Creek, so that would be really good to have some Summit Creek involvement. So, yep. And I think that's all that I have. Sherry, if you have something you wanted me to add, because I did not read all of your text, but anyway, I think we're good.
Okay, Councilmember Malkovich, legislative updating.
Legislature gave us April off, but they're on full force for May. May 6th is kind of a big deal. That's when they can all open their bill files for next year. So there is something that the mayor gave me to ask if we might potentially look into some legislation. So we're still working on that. And if it happens, I'll let you know. Also, May 6th is the date that all of some of the things that were passed during this last legislative session go into effect. And I'm just going to say a couple of them that affect our city. One was House Bill 33, political sign amendments. We can't prohibit people from posting on park strips, and that we have to have a designated area for some signs. And then also,
Is that on
if they remove
city property?
And if they remove some signs, needs to be a place for them to deposit them at the city so that they can pick them up later, because they're very expensive. We do know that there is a primary election in several of the races that our residents will participate in. One for primary will be the congressional race between Celeste Malloy and Phil Lyman. And then we also have a state school board race that is also in a primary. Another one is local government fees, House Bill 425, that if we choose to do a transportation fee, now we are able to after May 6th. There's several with regards to truth in taxation and property tax adjustments. Of course, truth in taxation has to be a standalone date now. It can't be with anything else, but there are several that have to do with that. A landscaping restriction amendment, House Bill 215, we cannot prohibit the removal of vegetation if they're in a wildland urban interface area, WUI area, and our whole town is. So there's some things that people may do.
They can clear cut their lot if they want, and I can't say no.
Basically, that's what it's saying. House Bill 535 is the debt that is disposing of public property modifications. So we occasionally, Brian, that's probably something that you'll want to look into a little bit more to make sure we're continue to be in compliance with that. The one thing that we need to look at is SB 232, regulatory impacts on family. Every piece of legislative materials we put out, we have to have it show the impact to family health, stability, and formation. And the league does have some language that they suggest that every piece of legislation that we put forth has a statement attached to it. So we might want to look into that a little bit, because we need to put how that impacts families in our area. And then there's an online marketplace, SB 108, that municipalities can't regulate operation of an online marketplace except for with certain conditions. So if we have anyone in our city boundaries, there are others that may not impact us directly, but we need to be aware of those. The other thing is the interim meetings start again on May 20th, and our legislative policy committee meetings start up again on June 1st, and I will be there. So And then there's a bunch that will go into effect in the first part of July, but those are the ones that really affect us starting next week.
Carrie, on House Bill 33, we had some discussion in our recorders meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to make sure, so I checked. In certain areas of the city, we do not have sidewalks. And that provision is primarily for park strips as between the road and the sidewalk. In those areas, we don't have a regulation to allow signs. So we don't have to follow that.
So Four Seasons is host.
Four Seasons is open game, but otherwise it doesn't apply.
Only part of Four Seasons, because they only have sidewalks on part of it.
Only those, poor houses. There's
But I
like
think
6
it would
houses
be-
that won't have them.
I think then it might be into our best interest because we want our citizens to be well informed when they vote. And if we never have an opportunity for candidates to, except for in that area of town, to say who they are, because going door to door is really hard. And as all of you who know have wanted to put signs on Woodland Hills Drive, and we've asked particular residents, can we put it in your yard? And yet it's 10 feet back from the road and no one sees it because by then we have snow and or vegetation growing. We might want to consider kind of something in the same idea, right? That we might allow some things in the right of way for a certain period of time prior to an
Well, we have
election.
adjusted that.
We did do that for elections.
There is a second piece of legislation we do need to also apply to the political signs.
Right,
And that was one of the conflicting pieces in our last campaign
Yes.
cycle.
that's why I'm bringing it
But
up.
let's.
Maybe
get
we
that
should look at that because we will have, especially with Congress, we will have those people wanting to put some signs in our city.
Wayne, can you put
Just
that on your
saying.
notes? Thank
That was
you.
an interesting thing that, because we don't have a parking strip, that was an interesting thing that came out of that,
Yeah,
was,
Yeah, and I received a letter from the House clerk and the Senate clerk today. One saying that, I guess they were supposed to, I don't know, but they sent it basically saying one piece of legislation that did pass is an emphasis on religious freedom and restoring religion in governmental function. So still the separation of church and state delineated by our Constitution, but that we should be, encouraging those religious conversations and discussion.
Yeah.
So, because we pushed further away than we should have. No kind of a correctionary act of it. And then the other one, I haven't had a chance to read on what legislation came from the Senate that they want me to.
yep. So if any of you have concerns about things, or if you have seen things that, that we might want to consider either amending or something new, please let me know, because as I said, they're going to start doing their bill filing next week. And if it's something that's really, really important, then we want to be at the front of that because it does get top heavy towards the end, so.
Cool, thank you. Councilmember Roden.
Nothing of major note on the IT side. You and I are working on
We
something.
still need to connect on that.
But yeah, as soon as that's ready, then that's something we can.
Perfect. Okay. And I actually did speak with
Did you?
one of them.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, cool.
Oh, really?
So
Okay. Great.
he's okay with it.
Great.
Wonderful. Okay. Any upcoming items that anybody would want to try and request to put on a future agenda?
I did have someone contact me years ago, and I don't even remember what year it was. Jody probably will remember. We were working on the boundary line between us and Elk Ridge, and we've never really got that finalized. And there are some property owners over there who are wondering if we're any closer to actually establishing.
Is this over in Four Seasons?
No,
it exists. We're not changing the boundary line. It will not be just up, we had talked at one time of having one side of Loafer Canyon be in Elk Ridge and another side in.
or based on services provided, because some people,
Woodland Hills.
yeah.
This was to get them to agree to this annexation for Summit Creek was a struggle in itself. I think that's on hold, any changes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you just might want to get up to date on that because there are a couple of residents who it affects.
Bucky and
they're
Jody.
just- They're just,
And we've had a couple residents right there who said, absolutely no, we're not going into Woodland Hills, and we have promised them that we would
Right,
not.
right.
impact them.
But the ones that are Woodland Hills that are accessed from, they access our services, but they're on the other side. There's just some tricky things that went on with that over there, so.
really close at one point.
Yeah, it was really, really close.
I'll meet with you, Jody, and we can go over that, and then I can also meet with the Elk Ridge mayor and we can coordinate and figure out where that all sits currently.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, then we will take a break and let's see if I can actually, look at time correctly this time. It's currently 7:58. Let's plan to come back and resume and start our city council meeting at 8:05. Let's
Hopefully the transfer
Okay.
does one.
like to welcome everybody to the city council meeting today. We're gonna have an invocation from Councilmember Malkovich and a pledge of allegiance from Councilmember Lund.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful to be here as a city council tonight for our council meeting. We're grateful for the moisture we have received this week. We're grateful for the community we live in, for the protection thou grants unto us, for the beauty of our trees and our vegetation, as well as for our wildlife. We ask that thou continues to bless us with protection and safety. We ask thee to bless our citizens, that they will be mindful of the concerns that were brought up earlier with regards to the hot, dry summer and the need to be extra vigilant in our efforts to be mindful of those conditions. Please bless us as we talk about city business, that our minds will be open, that we will be able to discuss things in civil manner and make decisions that are best for our city and for the residents. We're grateful for those who are willing to serve on the different committees throughout the city and volunteer and help and support in any way possible. We're grateful for our city staff and the work that they put into helping us as council understand the issues of our city and for all that they do to give us accurate and timely information and support us that we can make better decisions. We're grateful for all of the blessings that thou gives unto us, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand. Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. We'd like to go now into a public comment. If we could limit our comments to 2 minutes or less. Only in-person comments will be included as part of the official record. So it doesn't look like I have anybody online. Diana? Please.
You missed me last time, huh?
Always.
Hi, Diana Sackett. I just want to speak on behalf of our friends and neighbors on the east side of our city, particularly Maple Drive, where it borders our boundary, our city boundary. The last time we gave an authorization or permit or whatever to move dirt and make dust, we had the same mitigation requirements. However, dust was much more than it should have been. And I didn't know until researching for tonight that the way these inspectors decide on what level they're seeing, it's a visual thing. They're trained and it's truly, they memorize what it looks like without dust, and then they compare that in their mind to what it looks like if there is dust. So it is very
subjective.
Yeah.
And we live in a
It is very
dirty town.
subjective. And then if you dive further into this issue of dust, obviously wind, that contractor's not liable for the wind. But if there's so much accumulated that it flies off continuously, then it would be just like if you're carrying dirt in your truck, that's why on the freeway now it has to be covered. If dust is collecting on your patio, the back of your house, your deck or whatever, that means I have friends that told me they would clean it every single day and there was a layer every single day. That would mean there is too much because the rule is about how much is in the air, not about it can then, be so much that it accumulates. So I want to be able to tell my friends and neighbors that it's not going to be as bad. They were told there's water trucks, but they would hardly ever see them. The other part of this, before you vote on giving the permit, is time of day, because there was a restriction according to our ordinances, but they still did work early. And I know that was reported and eventually they changed their hours, but it went a long time before the change happened. And I just wanted to point out, I believe that there will be more vehicles or equipment on this site than what was mentioned. There'll be a crusher, it was mentioned, a sifter, trucks, dozers to move and carry, but there will also be a conveyor. And I wonder if we want to know how big of one of those. I don't know if, like, Mary Man is from Barstow, It's a big, long vehicle and it has a conveyor belt and it actually sifts the particles according to size. It can be big and it can be very loud. So just keep in mind all these things and what could be helpful to our city.
Thank you. Bucky, would you like to make a comment?
He's just so excited to fund our roundabout design.
Yeah, I was thinking that he's thinking, how can I donate and really help with that bronze elk?
Okay. You're good?
I'm getting hit. The elk, that's gonna hang over my head.
It was just that whole
It's
thing
okay,
when you were waving your head up and down while she was talking. We were just pretty sure you were listening.
I was just volunteering you. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said my piece about the annexation, so
Okay. Perfect. Any public comment? Well, we're glad to have you, brother. Okay, perfect. Then I will close the public comment. And we will move on to the consent agenda, the approval of the April 14th, 2026 City Council meeting minutes.
I do have a correction. I wasn't here, but I read through them. I really liked them. At the very end, one of our guests today is Matt Durant. He's here. He ran for Utah House District 64 race. And so he was here last time, but you have the wrong designation of office that he's seeking. So I thought we should change that. They had you down as running for Congress.
Oh.
So we want to make sure it's Utah House District 64. But I did ask our, probably between now and primary, both of the congressional candidates would like to come to Woodland Hills.
Wonderful.
So I don't know, Bucky, if you're interested in hosting them at your facility, then I will call you.
we'll do that instead of a no.
Well, maybe a little. Maybe a little.
Well played, Bucky.
But
How
I
about
will-
the consent agenda?
And I can't approve the consent agenda because I was not here, but I just wanted to make that.
Wonderful. With that alteration,
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda. And I'd like to comment that Jody, I know, this has already been commented on, but she makes us all sound so intelligent. Thank you.
it's up an old battle.
Over and over and over again.
I'm not sure I could pronounce some of the words that I supposedly said in that meeting, but I'll second it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to Councilmember Lunt, second by Councilmember Hutchings, Councilmember Malkovich,
Yeah.
Councilmember Johns,
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings,
Yes.
Councilmember Roden,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Okay. that the consent agenda passes. Okay, we are going to move on to the acceptance of a petition for annexation and submission of a zone change application, request being sent to the planning commission. The zone changes.
Just to send it to the planning commission, not us approve it.
We're approving the annexation, correct?
Okay.
You're approving the petition for the annexation. Then it goes into, I mean, we've got to verify the petition, then we have to put out a notice, then we've got a 30-day period, and then there'll be public hearings.
All right.
So it's a process. Bucky has let the county know already, so he's done his part. And now it's
Our part.
And if anybody wants to see the petition checklist that we have to go through, you're welcome to come in and look at it. So,
Okay.
but this, I've sent it to Bucky and I've also sent it to Elk Ridge.
We'll take some time. I will motion.
Councilmember
Accept.
Malkovich for a motion.
I'll second.
Councilmember Jones for a second. Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Roden.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Okay, that petition passes. Acceptance of a conditional use permit with approval contingencies. What are those approval contingencies? Is that the
Yeah.
fee in lieu of and the finalization of the completion of the application?
Yeah, completion and signing it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Councilmember Roden with a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilmember Hutchings with a second. Councilmember Malkovich.
I guess.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Councilmember
I don't
Johns.
like it.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Roden.
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
That motion passes. For me, that is the moving of the mountain. That's what I like to see. Yes.
Well, they're listed together on here. You might treat them as a separate motion to refer the rezone
They did it well.
to the planning commission
They didn't do it
for
well.
their review.
I think we broke it out clear.
Okay.
So acceptance of the petition, did you guys feel that was what we were voting on?
Yeah, because it says and.
Then yeah, it's headed to the planning commission for the zoning piece. Okay, the adoption of resolution 2026-37 is authorizing the issuance and sale of not more than 1.4 million sales and franchise tax revenue bond for the roads.
I'll motion.
Councilmember Malkovich with a motion.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Lunt with a second. Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
Councilmember Roden.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Okay, that resolution passes. Approval of the March 2026 financials and check disbursements, not clerk disbursements, just check disbursements.
Yeah, don't disperse a clerk.
Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Councilmember Roden for the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Johns with a second. Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Councilmember Johns.
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Roden.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Okay, as I stated earlier, there is a personnel matter that I would like to discuss with each of you in a closed session. If I can get a motion.
I'll make a motion that we go to closed session to discuss a personnel matter.
I'll
Okay,
second.
Councilmember Lunt with a motion, Councilmember Malkovich with a second, Councilmember Roden,
Yes.
Councilmember Hutchings,
Yes.
Councilmember Johns,
Yes.
Councilmember Lunt,
Yes.
Councilmember Malkovich.
Yes.
Trying to keep you guys on your toes.
Yeah.
I know, you're like-
Yeah.
Ping pong.
Okay, then we are headed into
Wizard.
closed session. Thank you, everybody.
That, I will tell you that.
Okay, we are back from closed session. I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
You know, the hard part about that is, one of the girls that I
Thank you,
a week
Brian.
and a half
That was great.
later, she came over to my house.